In a distant time, in a small forgotten town, lived a young girl named Sara. Sara was born into a poor family, and her life had always been one of struggle. She lived in a crumbling neighborhood, surrounded by dust and decay, in a house that barely kept out the harsh winds of winter. Often, food was scarce, and Sara's greatest dream was to find a way to improve her life and the lives of those around her. Despite the hardships she faced, Sara was exceptionally beautiful, with bright eyes that sparkled like the stars and black hair as dark as the night. But her beauty couldn't change her fate. She, like everyone else in the town, was ruled by a tyrannical king who cared little for the suffering of the people. The king, known as King Adil, lived in luxury, while his subjects were left to starve and suffer. One day, while Sara was searching for firewood in the nearby forest, she stumbled upon something unusual. Hidden under a thick cluster of trees, she found a small cave. As she ventured deeper into the cave, an eerie feeling filled the air, but curiosity pushed her forward. At the far end of the cave, something shiny caught her eye. She approached cautiously and saw a small ring lying on the ground, gleaming in the dim light. It was an ancient ring, covered in strange symbols and inscriptions that Sara could not understand. As soon as she picked it up, she felt a strange surge of energy rush through her body, and she realized that this was no ordinary ring. It was the legendary Ring of Solomon. When Sara placed the ring on her finger, she instantly felt a transformation. The air around her seemed to change, and then before her appeared beings of immense power, spirits and jinn made of wind, fire, and light. One of the most powerful of these beings, a wise genie named Ifrit, addressed her. "You have found the ring," he said. "It grants you power over the elements and dominion over the jinn. Your every wish can be fulfilled, but with great power comes great responsibility." As the days passed, Sara explored her newfound abilities. She could command the wind, summon birds to do her bidding, and even move the earth itself. The jinn, now under her control, aided her in mastering these powers. With each passing day, Sara's understanding of her magical gifts grew. She began to realize just how immense her potential was. However, Sara did not seek power for the sake of power. She knew that in her town, there was a much larger problem: King Adil. His rule was one of oppression and cruelty, where the people lived in constant fear. Taxes were unbearable, and anyone who dared to oppose him was punished without mercy. King Adil's reign was enforced by his mighty army, and his spies were everywhere, ensuring that no one could escape his gaze. For as long as Sara could remember, the king's tyranny had plagued her people. But now, with the power of the ring, Sara knew she could bring an end to this injustice. Sara's first task was to gather information. She knew that to overthrow the king, she would need more than just magic. She would need the support of the people. Using her powers, she created storms to gather the attention of the people, and sent birds to spread whispers of a coming revolution. She revealed her powers to the people, demonstrating the strength of the elements, and slowly, they began to believe in her. As Sara gained more supporters, she also learned that the king himself was feeling vulnerable. Whispers of rebellion were in the air, and many of his subjects had already begun to question his rule. Sara knew that this was her chance to strike. With the help of her growing army of jinn and magical creatures, Sara made plans to storm the king's palace. Her army was not just made of magic, but was composed of people who were fed up with the king's cruelty: workers, farmers, and commoners who had suffered for too long. Sara united them with a single purpose: to free the city from the tyrant's grasp.